My son was overjoyed when he received a scholarship to a prestigious school and couldn't wait to share the good news with me. On our way to buy him a new computer as a reward, we were suddenly attacked by a knife-wielding thug. In that split second, my son bravely stepped in front of me to protect me. Though I was unharmed, my son was severely injured and rushed to the hospital. With tears in his eyes, my husband said, "Honey, the doctor says our son's condition is critical. Only you, with your surgical expertise, can perform this operation." My father-in-law, too, pleaded with tears. "Sonny got hurt protecting you. You have to save him." My mother-in-law's body trembled as she nearly knelt before me, begging me to save our son. I extended my hand coldly, revealing a shallow cut on my wrist. "I'm sorry. My hand is injured. I can't perform the surgery." Sonny was so excited about the scholarship that he rushed off to tell you the good news without even packing his things. He was fine when he left home. How could he suddenly end up in the emergency room? My mother-in-law arrived at the hospital, full of confusion and anxiety, questioning me. Calmly seated outside the hospital room, I replied. He did come to the company to share the scholarship news with me. He wanted to celebrate with a meal, and as we reached the restaurant entrance, the thug charged at me. Sonny pushed me out of harm's way with all his strength to save me. I was unharmed, but he was gravely injured. Upon hearing my account, my mother-in-law burst into uncontrollable tears. My father-in-law sighed deeply. "This child has always been so brave and devoted. In a life-or-death moment, he valued your safety above his own." Despite his deep sorrow, my husband Declan tried to comfort me. "Don't blame yourself too much. Sonny has always been close to you. He did this to ensure your safety. As long as you're okay, he can endure this." Declan's voice was gentle, and his concern was sincere and deep. Hearing this, my father-in-law nodded and added, "Yes, Hazel, Sonny has always been close to you. You have to stay strong and not let him worry." My mother-in-law blamed herself. "It's all my fault. I should have been with Sonny. If I were there, I wouldn't have let anything happen to either of you, even at the cost of my life." Even though Sonny is their beloved child and they know he's in critical condition because of me, they suppress their grief to comfort me, not putting any pressure on me. Seeing their concerned faces, I remained silent. During the rescue, critical condition notices kept arriving. Sonny's situation was extremely severe. As everyone anxiously waited, the attending doctor emerged from the operating room with a grave expression. He walked straight to me and urgently said, "Dr. Hazel, the patient's condition is very dangerous. We've done everything we can. You're a surgical expert. If you perform the surgery, there's a slim chance of survival for the patient." Hearing this, my father-in-law immediately pleaded with me. "Hazel, Sonny got hurt saving you. You can't let anything happen to him." My mother-in-law wiped her tears and added, her voice trembling, "Yes, Hazel, Sonny is still so young with a bright future ahead. You have to save him." Declan looked at me earnestly. "Honey, Sonny's life is in your hands." The three of them placed their hope in me, their eyes filled with worry and pleading. But I calmly extended my hand, showing the shallow cut on my wrist, and said, "Sorry, my hand is injured. It's not convenient for me to perform surgery." My refusal left everyone stunned. The attending doctor was bewildered. "Dr. Hazel, it's just a small cut. It won't affect the surgery at all. The patient is in critical condition. Every minute of delay could be fatal for him." Hearing this, my mother-in-law anxiously cried, pleading with me. "Hazel, the doctor said your injury doesn't matter. Sonny's situation can't wait. Please go save him." My father-in-law, with tearful eyes, said to me, "Hazel, Sonny is your biological son. He risked his life for you. Are you really going to watch him die on the operating table?" Declan looked at me with worry. "Hazel, are you hurt somewhere else?" With that, Declan started examining me carefully, as if convinced there was something I wasn't saying. But I remained indifferent and replied coldly, "No need to check. Thanks to Sonny saving me in time, I'm completely fine." Hearing this, Declan became agitated. "Then why won't you save Sonny? Don't you know how sensible and loving he is? The first thing he said when he got the scholarship was that you would be proud of him, so he couldn't wait to tell you. He risked his life to save you, and now you're leaving him to die?" Even the usually gentle Declan couldn't hold back his anger. My mother-in-law frowned, confused, and said, "Hazel, you're the most important and admired person in Sonny's heart. He studied hard and got the scholarship to make you happy. He protected you with everything he had. How can you abandon him at such a critical moment?" My father-in-law, devastated, pleaded with me. Yes, if Sonny knew that the mother he always looked up to didn't care about his life and death, how desperate would he be? I looked at the three of them, who were heartbroken, and responded earnestly. "The hospital has a rule against performing surgery on direct relatives. I can't break hospital rules. I can't do the surgery." After saying this, I didn't wait for their reaction and got up to leave. "Dr. Hazel, is the hospital rule more important than your son's life? If even you don't help, the patient really has no chance of survival." The attending doctor called after me, trying to stop me. But I remained indifferent and resolute, leaving without looking back. As I reached the hospital entrance, my in-laws and Declan caught up with me. My mother-in-law knelt in front of me, begging, "Hazel, I'm begging you. You can't leave. If you leave, Sonny has no hope." Her public kneeling drew the attention of people around. "Isn't that Dr. Hazel, the surgical expert? What's going on? I heard her son got stabbed by a thug trying to save her, and now she's leaving him to die while her family begs her." Hearing the story, those present were filled with righteous indignation. I never expected Dr. Hazel, who seemed so responsible with patients, to be so cold to her own son. She was probably just putting on a show before. How can she truly care for patients if she's so heartless to her child? Exactly, what kind of mother leaves her child to die? She's no different from a demon. Even a tiger wouldn't harm its cubs. It's a pity her son, so filial and brave, risked his life to save such a cruel mother. The crowd's curses flew, and they all branded me as a villain. Even those patients and families I had helped before, who respected me, now looked at me with disdain and disgust. Amidst the crowd's gossip, my father-in-law, wiping tears, spoke to me earnestly. Hazel, I can't believe you're really such a cold and heartless person. When you gave birth to Sunny, you almost died from a difficult labor but kept telling the doctor to save the child. You said this child was more important than your life and that you'd do anything as long as he survived. Sunny is the child you risked your life for. You wouldn't just stand by and watch him die because of you, right? With tears streaming down his face, my father-in-law looked at me with eyes full of pleading and hope. But I remained unmoved, just quietly watching him without saying a word. Declan, seeing my indifference, became increasingly anxious, his voice rising. Hazel, lying in that operating room is your son, who protected you with his life. Are you really going to be so heartless?